All right, today I want to talk about running PHD2 and a plate solve in Nina. Again, this is with my A7R4 connected, my Sony camera, and I'll show you a brief sequence, just like a starting up sequence that I use for my SkyWatcher Star Adventurer Pro. I think it's a SkyWatcher Star Adventurer 2 Pro, and you'll see that I turn off dithering once I get started here. That's because I did not successfully do any guiding this night. When we start here, you'll see that the dithering has a exclamation point next to it. Turning it off here. The exclamation point means that it's not detecting the guide cam, and that's because I haven't turned it on yet. We'll get to that a little bit later. Um, I realized I needed just one iteration, one exposure to run the first time. Now turn off dithering again. And if you hit the play button in the lower right, that runs the sequence, starts the camera shooting its first exposure. And you can see the sequence on the far right in this box. It'll keep tabs on what exposure you're on. In the lower left corner, it'll show you how many seconds of the exposure have elapsed. And when it's done, you know that the camera is finished exposing and now it's transferring the image to the computer. And it'll download it, debayer it, do a mild stretch on it so you can see all the stars, and move on. And once the image is on here, we'll be able to run a plate solve by hitting this button up here. And the plate solve will give us some information on where the camera is pointed. It'll help us determine whether it's pointed at our target. It also helps us set up PHD2 because we need to know the declination that we're pointing at least for my rig. So the declination is 54 degrees. PHD2 will round that up to 55. So we go back to the equipment tab, select the guider, make sure PHD2 is selected as the guider here, and hit the power button to turn it on. It'll start PHD2, which will connect to your equipment. And then initially here, I kind of jumped into it too early. I should have first done some setup. So I'll have to stop the sequence and go to the advanced settings. There's also an icon that looks like a little brain down there that does the same thing, but it's under Guide, Advanced Settings. And the Guiding tab is where I'm going to end up first. You'll see the calibration declination in degrees. I forgot to change that. I was jumping around in these tabs, trying to remember how to run all this stuff. It's been a good 2 months of clouds in my area. But this advanced option here is where we're going to end up. But first, we want to make sure deck guiding is off if you're using a Star Adventurer, because it does not guide in declination. All right, so back here under guiding and calibration calculator, we need to set the declination to match what we found in our plate solve. And it always rounds up to 55, so I just typed in 55 anyway. So we start looping images again, then we click the star to tell PHD2 to pick a star for guiding, and then we tell it to calibrate by hitting that green button. And if you hold down shift and click on the green button, that forces recalibration. Otherwise, it'll just use the calibration you used last time you were logged in. Next, we can return to the sequencer and set our exposure time to 180 seconds or 3 minutes, and the iterations will set to 10. This is just to show you what I usually do next. You reset the sequence, start it, then you'll get a brief look at what a 3-minute exposure looked like on that night. That's about it. Now, I hope in the future to make another video or two about setting up the Sony A7R4 and similar Sony A7 series cameras with Nina and my particular rig. I'd like to show you what that looks like and how it works and why I use this process that I do. But for now, I hope this video gave you some visual representation of how to set these things up and use them in Nina. Thank you for watching and have a great day.